Welcome to Technomics, a podcast that explores the intersection of technology and the economy. Hosted by Robin Ituli and Jeremy Nelson, Technomics is brought to you by Insight. The host's opinions, while mostly brilliant, are their own.
Way back in November 2015, we had a really rare opportunity to sit down with some of the executives from our own organization, Cisco, and VMware. This was during our Synergy conference, which brings all of our partners together. There's a catch here. We had some, let's call them technical difficulties. Actually, the technical difficulty was me. I was super sick and I sounded terrible, but there was no way I was going to miss that conversation. So just a fair warning for this episode, you're going to have to just forgive the way that I sound. But you don't need me anyway, because the things that our friends from VMware and Cisco had to say were just so great. I hope you enjoy this one.
We're live.
Welcome to a very special episode of Technomics, brought to you live at the Westin Kierland Resort in Scottsdale, Arizona, and from our very own Synergy event. We have a number of our partners, our thought leaders here in town to talk about what's to come in the world of intelligent technology. And with us, I have a very special panel today, beginning with, of course, my trusty co-host.
This is Jeremy Nelson. Thank you again for having me, Robin. And it's good to see we finally got some good talent and some good voices here to join us.
Yeah, thank goodness for a panel, right?
That's right.
And speaking of panels, we do have a wonderful panel today, including Miss Marcy Blair of Cisco. She's the VP of America Partner Sales. Welcome, Marcy.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. It's a great event.
We're so thrilled you think so. And then, of course, we also have Mr. Frank Rausch, VP of America's Partner Organization with VMware.
Hey, thanks, Robin. Thanks, Jeremy. Good to be here.
And we have our fearless leader, that one's going on record, Ken Lamneck, CEO and President of Insight.
Thank you, and it's good to be here again.
All right, so today's episode we're calling Digital Business. How did we get here, and how do we get there? It's a big topic of conversation because it's really what's on the next frontier with serving up intelligent technology and helping our client businesses run smarter, because we've been through the whole rigmarole. There was web, then there was e-commerce. Now we're spending a lot of our time talking about doing really pristine digital marketing. And next up is digital business. So the question becomes, what is that definition? What is digital business? Marcy?
Whoa.
I'm giving you eyes.
I was going to say, that's a huge question. You know, from Cisco's perspective, you're either going to start digital or you're an existing company that's trying to figure out how to get digital. And if you're trying to get digital, you're either going to try to figure out how to use digitization, hard word to say sometimes, to increase efficiencies, change your business model, or finally use all those analytics you've been capturing forever to actually make some sense out of them and make some business decisions out of the analytics.
That's a great perspective. Frank, I'd love to hear what you think about the definition of digital business too.
Yeah, I mean, at VMware, we're all about speed. We're all about agility. And that's kind of when somebody says, hey, we want to go digital, that's really what they're saying. So, I mean, our strategy is pretty simple. It's really one cloud, any app, any device. And if we can make that happen, and we can do it securely, we can do it instantly, and we can do it fluid, which I think is the new buzzword of IT, to be able to break down the barriers between marketing, between supply chain, between all the other organizations, I think you get there.
Mr. Ken?
Yeah, I mean, I think when, for the past 2 years when we talked and we said, it's digital business, what we really meant was we were doing, business electronically, right? We were transacting electronically. And the reason was we just didn't have all the other parts of the ecosystem that really allowed us to take advantage of what a digital environment can be. And we're still not there yet, but we're much further along, as with the advent of things like we talked about today with Uber, which really allows this sort of digital economy to really take off, and so many other pieces to it. The part that's, I think, still missing is all the analytics. It's still pretty complicated, and I do believe that actually is going to get far easier in the future. I think we've got a period now for the next 5 years where we're all still trying to figure out, we need all these data scientists and so forth, and the reason is we just don't have the right tools. So there's many companies, like on our panel here, that are developing these tools that are really going to help people figure this out pretty quickly. But I think we're going to go through a pretty tumultuous time for the next 5 years where we're all trying to hire these data scientists, which, by the way, don't exist, right? They really aren't out there. So it's going to be difficult to find these folks. People are going to pay a fortune for them. But alongside what's going to occur is there'll be some very smart companies that are developing a tool set that allow a lot of this to be done very routinely, very easily. So it's, I think, an area to watch, but certainly an area that I think helps complete the cycle of really what a digital environment, a digital business is really about. It's the one piece I think that's missing.
And I love that, that perspective, right? The analytics, we've had multiple, people bring up analytics. We've talked about cloud, and I think at the back end of that as well is that we have the big data component of that, right? Is that we have so much data coming from so many different avenues now that we can then bring in and perform those analytics on, and that's where some of these disruptions are really coming from.
You still have to know what questions do you want to ask about the data, right?
Exactly.
That's the missing piece.
And that's the data, like the data engineers or the data scientists that we're talking about.
Right.
Really at the heart of some of this analytics and this big data and being able to do these disruptive things is, we've talked a lot today about cloud, right? And it's not just, and it can mean a lot of different things to different people. And along with cloud comes that conversation around software defined. And obviously, Cisco and VMware have unique perspectives and different initiatives around software-defined and cloud technologies.
And it's interesting. I was just in a meeting with our Blue Metal team, and that's a recent acquisition we made, and they've got a business intelligence group as well. And they were talking about one of their clients, a healthcare client, actually a hospital, that they were doing business with. And what they helped them figure out was they tried to figure out what is the most important indicator of whether how many days a person will stay in the hospital. It's a pretty interesting piece of information. And you know what that information is? Guess what you think it is? Does the person have a valid driver's license? Right? Because the majority of these people are much older, right? And if they don't have a driver's license, guess what? They're not going to get out, right? But you would never think that. You would never possibly come to that conclusion, right, without the kind of analytics, but really thinking much differently about the problem than we all would. So it's a very, very interesting area when you start thinking and exploring all this. So that's why I think we're going to go through some pretty tumultuous times over the next 5 years, because we're starting to figure out, we just wouldn't even think about that. I mean, just people would, that was not on your list. I'm sure in the audience is saying, yeah, that's what I would be thinking about first.
Ken, I've heard you tell that story
You're right,
before.
by the way.
And what I think is really interesting is what the hospital did with that information. They created a ride home program, right? So they're now using that kind of information to change the experience for patients. And I think that's the real payoff that we're going to spend so much time talking about, which is delightful digitization, right? It's got to be really impactful and delightful for the clients, the people who those businesses are touching, and when they're using that data well.
Well, a great example of that is, when you think of our own customer experiences, right, is, well, you're sitting there drinking a Starbucks, so hopefully it's okay to use their brand name because it's in your hand here. But, just you talk about delighting the customer. It used to be, oh, how cool, you could go in and order it and pay for it. Well, now, you sit there and you don't want to wait in line. You're rushing. You're trying to get, to the office or a flight somewhere. Now you go online, you order it. It tells you it's going to be up in 3 minutes, and it gives you your order that you've already preset, and it takes it. It's all paid for. You walk in. You don't stand in line. It says Marcy on the cup. You walk in. You walk out, and you're done. And to me, it's like that's a great digital customer experience, because now it is taken away the line, the payment plan, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, I don't know. There's still a line. There's still a line. All you have to do is walk into the lobby. Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. I mean, it's so diverse. So Lowe's would be a great example. I mean, people are going in there to buy wood, they're going in there to buy cement, whatever, to be able to help them, I guess, help themselves. So they came to VMware probably about a year ago, and they said, hey, we want to be able to empower our employees. We want to get down to 0 wait time. And of course we said, well, that's very aspirational, but I don't know how we're going to get there. So we worked with Apple to be able to put iPhones, iPads, 43,000 of them, 1,700 stores. To be able to just say, hey, here's the price, here's the inventory. By the way, here's the YouTube video of how to do it, whether you can figure out whether you can really do it or not. And that's just another example. Maybe not as creative as the
pretty
hospital
powerful.
with the ride home.
I wonder if they're using Uber to get their ride back home.
You hope so.
I like Lyft. They give you a little fist bump. Yes, I experienced that.
Yeah, but you're seeing, I mean, it's interesting, that whole sort of, like we talked earlier, this, idle economy, this sort of shared situation where, Uber now is far more than, of course, they're the delivery service now, right? They're far less expensive than a lot of other delivery vehicles, and, it won't be long before you'll see pizza companies will be using Uber. They're going to have their own crazy drivers they have that, get in accidents all the time. They'll be using Uber for this. But we're just, starting to really see this whole digitization effect that allows and enables these type of things. You're seeing some of these retail storefronts where they have these different footprints, and what we found with one retailer is when they designed the footprint, they actually designed themselves to have a lot of in-store stock. And what they realized, they didn't need that over time. So they have all this extra space, and they've got a good footprint across the country. So now they're actually selling that storage space for people who need that storage space in specific cities, right? Something you wouldn't think about, right? You just wouldn't have thought about, how do I use that asset? But again, if it wasn't digitized in an environment like this, you could never make that useful.
I think the interesting thing that I'm hearing from everyone here is that it's really a way of individualizing, right? It's a way of taking what used to be a very mass-oriented experience and trying to bring that into something where it's very personal. Taking all that data and making sure that it's something where you feel like an individual and you feel like the customer, or that the company that you're interacting with recognizes you as an individual and recognizes your individual needs.
Without crossing the line of, it's almost a little scary.
Yeah.
Talk about walking in the store.
Which is hard to do, truly. And that comes back to the whole point about data, right? It's how you use it. If you're not using it just the right way, you're going to freak people out. A good example is the company Fabletics. They are doing some real PR backpedaling at the moment because they tried to leverage their data and they weren't exactly successful with it. Because they were unable to basically unenroll people from their marketing. And I don't know, I get enough emails, and if I start getting a lot of them and I have already unsubscribed, I am not a happy customer. Right. In fact, I'm just not a customer.
Yeah, it's a reverse marketing.
Reverse in the wrong way.
Exactly.
But if you do have the right analytics and you do know that you just walked in the store, right, and you are a frequent buyer, so we now know that you're in the store, and it's like, how much do you want them to know? Because you would like to know if the shoes that you want are on sale, or that there's a coupon that they would like to push out to you. So there's that fine line of allowing us to be consumers when we want to be, without them stalking us when we don't want them there.
I'll tell you the detailed information I would like Target to know about me, and that is whether or not I have come into the store with 0, 1, or 2 children and determine the proper checkout lane for me.
That would be a high value. I mean, the interesting thing about it, though, is that the value is more intuitive today than I believe it's ever been. So, I mean, whether you're talking to Whole Foods, which was an example that was brought up today, and how to stock shelves, and what happens when they remove one item or they place another item there, what would be the economic impact? Or when you're talking to a hotel chain, and all of a sudden, at a Marriott, they know where you are, they know what you like, they know how you want to check in, they probably know your duration of stay, etc. Maybe you say, well, I don't want them to know all that, but I'll tell you what, for a guy like me, 5 days on the road every single week, that is a world of difference to be able to be treated like that. And, we're in sales, and we speak to people all day long, but if I could speak to one less, I'd be a happy guy. Seriously.
So you're not interested in registration at the Marriott?
No, I love kiosks. They smile at me. They don't argue.
I like it when there wouldn't even be a kiosk. I could walk in, they'd have the presence, it says I'm not on the ground floor because I hate being on the ground floor. Here's your key, go to room XYZ, and it's a king-size bed because that's what we know what you like. I love those ideas.
Right. And then go one step further. Call me an Uber in the morning. because you know when my flight is.
Perfect.
You know what traffic is going to the airport. And again, I'm just dreaming.
I guess the question is, how lazy are we becoming? Right? I mean, that's really what it's. I mean, it's just like.
It's only lazy on
So
the
that
front
would
end
be-
because it sounds complicated on the back end.
No, that would be one word for it. But I mean, the word we like to use is productive.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have to waste your time doing all the above, what else could you be doing?
Yeah, but you're the guy that, you know, Frank, when you're watching TV and if the remote doesn't work, you're going crazy because you might have to get up and, you know.
You know, I've come to this event for 8 or 9 years now, and I'm hoping to be able to make it at 10. So thank you for the warm welcome.
Yep, as always.
Yes.
But it's interesting, you know, when you look at transformation of industries, look at the car industry. And I think what's so fantastic to me is what Tesla has done to a very staid, old industry, right? I mean, and you still look at it today. You go down, every city's got a street where they got all these car dealerships, and you go down the street, and what do you see? Completely ridiculous unused assets. All these cars, all these expensive automobiles sitting on these parking lots, right? I mean, the car dealership owns, the Ford owns that, or Buick, they all own these things. You say, what a non-productive way, right? Who would do that, right? And of course, we're paying for that, right? Somebody's got to pay for that somewhere. That's got to be built into the price of their cost structure, and obviously they pass it on to the consumer, they have to. And then you have somebody like Tesla who comes by and says, hey, we're going to develop technology, right? Just an amazing experience, and here they took an industry that none of us ever believed that could ever be transformed, and they're changing it overnight. And if, you know, Detroit and Toyota and everybody else doesn't get their act together, they're going to be gone, because, you know, Tesla not only produced an incredible vehicle, right? They addressed the whole sort of ecosystem issues. When you really look, I'm sure we've all looked at a Tesla. If you go to, you go to a mall, that's where they should be, right? You go in there and it's like
One of them.
yeah, exactly. And you go in there and you say, my God, there's nothing in this car, right? I mean, your service basically is a software download. I mean, that's how you service it, and then you got to put tires on it and brakes. But there's nothing, I mean, if you look at the car, you say, my God, there's nothing in this thing. So it totally transformed an industry. Now it's still at the high end and it's still expensive, but I think the value you get actually is so much greater than what you get from other vehicles. But it's really forcing. I mean, if you're in these other industries in the car industry, you got to be looking and say, what the hell just happened, and how am I going to react to it, right?
And you can tell when they freak out, because that's when they try and come in with regulation, right? That's when they reach out to local governments to help protect their chunk of the
Let's
pie.
shut down Uber.
Uber
Right?
being a great example of that.
Exactly.
But you see, to my point, I know you got it. That's one less individual you have to speak to. You don't haggle, you don't negotiate, you don't need to understand what's on the guy's desk, pictures.
No, you're right.
Like that. I mean, I think it's a good experience.
We'll go one step further when we have autonomous vehicles, right? Now you don't even have to have an Uber driver.
I'm
Now
not
you literally
bu-
have
I'm
an
not
Uber
buying
car.
Yeah.
But you know, again, getting back to a little bit of our world, which is kind of what makes it all work. Software defined, you know, whether you're Cisco or whether you're VMware, certainly is a big piece of it. And to be able to create the agility in the data center with Insight is tremendous right now. I mean, software-defined compute, software-defined storage, software-defined networking, however you define it, management, private cloud, public cloud, et cetera. All that enables the stuff that we're talking about. And then to be able to say, well, if they're going to have all that info, how do you secure it? And when you secure it, how do you secure it from a device level all the way to their data center? And that's kind of what we're doing right now.
That's a great point, Frank, right? Because when you think about it, the applications are what's touching the customer, right? And so that end user, as you extend these services, the security, the data center, all those functionality to the software, that's then really creating those customer experiences. You're really kind of extending that reach of your platform or your infrastructure all the way out to the person that really matters most.
That's right, but I think that's why security everybody is probably the most concerned about, so they don't end up on the cover of the Wall Street Journal saying, okay, guess what just happened?
Yeah.
Actually, God bless them if that's the only place that they end up, because papers are not what they used to be.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is a real challenge is, we get to have this vision of what's possible, and it's exciting, and I think it's why we all love being in this industry, is that we get to spend so much time thinking about what's possible, but we have to walk the talk in some instances. So I'd love to hear from you, Marcy and Frank, about how digital business is emerging within the cultures of Cisco and VMware.
So I can think of one, we have a product called Spark, and I'll tell you how we use it, is think of it as an instant message room that stays, right? So we have Partner Summit, just like you have all your partners here, and you have your Partner Summit. So let's just say that there's 100 of us and we join the room, and we're the 100 executives that are there. So if some announcement gets made by one of our competitors while we're at the summit, we are all in the room and we're, loading and uploading and talking to each other real time, and that doesn't go away. And if somebody wants to drop in, a file, they can. So that was one use of it. And the second one was we just finished our quarter. I think our earnings are next week. We had our largest deal for the quarter. So the 30 people that were working that deal on a minute-by-minute basis, as you guys can relate to, they're on and they're getting the messages and they're dropping in the documents, and people are editing online and talking to each other. So to me, that is just a tool that is so much better than sifting through voicemails and emails about one specific topic. So I guess that's just one digitization that we're using. I'm sure.
Yeah, we're nowhere near that creative, by the way.
I don't believe that.
We're really more enablers than we are necessarily developing a product. So when you look at some of the problems that we look to solve in the industry, device management is certainly one of them. And, because if you're going to have the app, and by the way, consumer apps are one thing, but when you're starting to put your financials, you're starting to put your HR records, et cetera, you need to be able to have a really, really secure environment. So it's one of the reasons why we bought AirWatch. If you do anything like I do, and the word stupid comes to mind, you have like 5 different devices. And you have you're going to have your notebook, you're going to have your phone, you're going to have some type of a tablet maybe, and probably a couple other ones that vary, etc. It's one of the reasons why we bought a Medio. So in other words, you don't have to worry about the settings on this device versus that device versus that device. It makes your life really, really easy. And then when you look at Horizon or some of the things we're doing with single sign-on, all these apps and all these passwords that you don't want to necessarily have common passwords for a variety of reasons, wife, kids, dog, you name it. You just don't want to repeat your password. You have the ability to do single sign-on, which again makes my life a lot easier. Not really a product, it's not really a chat room, but when you look at how you're going to enable all the stuff that's happening in the industry, it's right there.
How about Insight?
A couple of ways. One is we talked a lot today about how we're using digital marketing to obviously execute for our partners, to our clients, which we think is, really critical going forward. So that's an effort we'll continue to invest in. We think it is, as we said, the source of where we've got to continue to enable our clients with the information they need to make the right decisions. And they're looking for somebody that can do it agnostically. They love Cisco, they love VMware, but they're looking for somebody who might have more of an agnostic, independent view. So they'll tend to, the research tells us, they'll tend to trust somebody who's more agnostic than they will somebody who obviously is only selling one product set, as an example. That's just natural, as you'd expect. So we take on the ownership of that responsibility to make sure we can help educate and through that whole digital marketing effort. As far as internally, of course, we always try to, walk what we talk here in regards to making sure that we're doing everything we can internally with all the different systems, the tools, features like Jam to really keep everybody fully engaged as a company. So that's really important so that we go to clients, they'll know that we're using the products and the services that we're promoting.
I think we do pretty good with single sign-on. Just in closing, to wrap things up, let's just offer a one-liner. We all get to be together for this really fun event, and there's a lot of conversation happening. So very quickly, one sentence. When you're with IT pros, what is the thing you're talking about? Marcy, you're up.
Get the IT folks talking to the business folks so they can connect the ideation back into IT.
Ideation. I like that.
That's awesome.
That's a great word.
It's ooh. We have intelligent technology and ideation technology.
Yes.
Frank, you're up.
I would say mine's pretty simple. Stay relevant. And maybe it really means the same thing. I mean, if you're not adding value every single day, you're probably not going to be employed by a year from now, literally. So the more you understand the route to revenue, the route to growth, the route to EPS, and the more you do what you need to do, purpose-driven, to use the word that was brought up today, rather than activity-driven, help get to that end result.
I would say business outcomes. I think just another variation of what was said, right? But it's all about business outcomes.
Jeremy?
So from the Insight Services perspective, it's very much a similar story. We're looking to empower the IT teams that we work with to make sure that they're delivering on the promises and the needs of their business, and to help ensure that they have the foundation and the framework to continue to make themselves relevant in the marketplace. So I think it's really kind of a tying together of everything is what we usually speak to on from the services side of Insight.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope everybody had a great time listening to this conversation and is going to walk out here with a few great takeaways. Until next time, this has been Technomics.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you stick with us and even subscribe to Technomics. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher, and very soon, once Google releases everything to the world, Google Play.
Thanks for listening. You can find all of our shows on iTunes. Join us next time for another episode of Technomics.